So you have a renewal coming up. Ideally, you're creating a renewal opportunity a couple months before the renewal. Last thing you want to do is create an invoice in the accounting system, hope for the best. Those reversals can look a little messy, but ideally you're getting an opportunity out there with an order form. In order to prepare for that kind of conversation, if you set up a renewal, at least 60 days in advance, sometimes 90 days, we would actually recommend 90 days. In the first 30 days, 30 of those 90. So T minus 90. Ideally, what you're going to do is some research on the customer, find out any usage telemetry that you have, like how many active users, who's using the system, any new users, anything like that. Maybe throw out a net promoter score survey, really flush out if there's any smoke that you need to put out. Review the cases that have come in, so any tickets that have come in from the customer, quite often a good indicator of their usage. Nothing wrong with tickets. It's a great indicator, but if those tickets aren't getting resolved or there's a bunch of product issues or of the like, you might want to get your head around that. See how the initial project went. So if you're in a company that has some software that requires like an implementation process, ideally they're live. How did that project go? Any feedback from the project? What's their AR look like? Are they paying their bills? Any issues there? You want to collect as much information before you actually engage the account. You don't necessarily need or want to engage the account 90 days prior to the renewal. That might set off a little bit too much, give them a little bit too much time. In some cases, time is on your side. But if you approach them at 60 days, that is, I think, an honest amount of time to identify what's going on. And you can usually start with an order form. But before you send out an order form, an email to your champion or the top executive within that organization that, hey, you got a renewal coming up. You can either take one of two paths. If there's a strategic account or you don't have an overwhelming number of customers, what you could do is set up a year in review or a health check. So, go into the system, identify how they're using the system, present that information with recommendations to the executive team, and really help establish kind of how the year went. Part of that conversation as well, you might benefit from doing like a business review. Identify the goals that the organization has. Ideally you did this on the onset of the project, and then you can kind of circle back to see how they did relative to their targets. But if you haven't done that, maybe establish some of those goals with them as part of that annual account review. That becomes more of a presumptive kind of, hey, like we're in this together. We're gonna help you achieve your business goals this year. So naturally, the renewal is just going to be part of that conversation, and then you can drop off the order form. There's typically quite a few things to do in preparation, and ideally, you don't have to hunt too hard to get at that.